Rosalia, you're a little too close. Da, Rosa, you're right. Two voices rushed to my ears the moment I woke up. One is cold, tired, and the other is warm and peppy. But both are unmistakably teen girl voices. My senses gradually returned to me as my body fought against the numbness. What happened? Where am I now? Though I didn't have the answers to these questions, my past experience soon laid out a simple fact for me. Another stupid Ponzi scheme with hot girls. Well, maybe not these two. I wouldn't say these two are all that attractive. Cute, but no. I'll just get back to sleep. Nothing good for me after I open my eyes. Lily, look, this one is trying to escape from reality. Did you hear those words, Lily? Da, Rosa. It sounds like what losers would say. I heard everything. So you did hear me. But you can never wake someone pretending to be asleep. Shameful, but... What's with this strong sense of deja vu? Archon Imperator. I've traveled the mountains and seas for many seasons. I've tried many things and failed many times. Just before I decided to give up, I heard about the holy writings describing a god who can fulfill any wish. So again I traveled the mountains and seas. Skip the boring repetitions, please. Ahem. Fuhua, why are you dressed like... No, I know it. She is not her. The Arch-Imperator of the Holy Shixel Empire. The part she now plays in this world fragment. Oh. Here we go. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm a bound handmaiden of the Forbidden Citadel, and Grand Chancellor of Emberia, Rita Rossweiss. Grand Chancellor of Emberia. Even now she couldn't seem to shake off her maiden identity. A lot happened the last time, and I miss it dearly. Wait, miss? It's all very recent, but why do I... You're just a fish for gutting and salting. So are you a fool trying to look brave? I'd rather be a reckless fool. If you could somehow return to the lady leaning by the bar and throwing drunken words at me. Thank goodness! You're finally awake. The beach, the island, this is... Ah, I remember now. It's an unplanned adventure. Oh, we finally got some audio, huh? This is pretty much just a sequel to a whole bunch of adventures, and now I'm really... It's going to be really hard for anyone watching this to understand what's going on without having seen any of the past events, especially including the last one. The water-Jin dwelling alone in the desert pyramid. I didn't... Stop getting so close to me. The girl venturing alone to find her big sister. Seal, I'm sorry. And the rhyme witch freezing the battlefield to seal the Colossus. Finally starting to remember. Now I remember. I was teleported against my will to a certain world fragment, where 3 kingdoms were warring with each other for the ancient ruins that kept the legendary Wish Granter. Exactly. You won the Wish Granter, but somehow you ended up losing the opportunity to return to where you belong. The thoughtful Chancellor told me the Grand Seer gained immortality as the finder of the wish granter. She might teach me how to travel to other isekai worlds. My tried-and-true formation should have worked like a charm. In the end, your pathetic obsession brought much uncertainty to the system, and even I suffered from your idiocy. Oh, maybe deep down I've always wanted to stay. In a world where I don't belong, but everyone is safe and sound. It's a world where people come and go. Perhaps we couldn't handle farewells. Couldn't handle farewells? That sounds familiar. But the only reason I'm here is to end this farce once and for all. It's time to go, Captain. Can you answer me one last question? Let me hear it. When it happened, you knew the formation went wrong, but you didn't back up from it. Instead, you stepped right into our mess and ended up here with us. Why? Why would I care about... Saving one life is equal to saving the whole world. That's the Empress's way. And for some uncanny reason, you always remind me of someone I used to know, even though you look nothing alike. I'm just slightly intrigued by you, the self-professed captain. No worries. There is plenty of time for you to know me in the coming days. Coming days? Wait. I indulged myself in oxygen like a drowned person with one hand clenching to the rescue raft. With Kunming and other images from the past still lingering on my retinas, I could hardly see what lay before me. Oh dear. This is... A cold and rough pain attacked my palms. Seems like my senses came back faster than my brain. Very soon, the flashing images settled down and became solid memories. Hey! Some noise came to my ears, but I couldn't make it out. Move aside! Out of my way! Right. Kunming blamed me for dragging her into it, but she did promise to send me back to Hyperion. This doesn't look like... Ruts won... There, Ruts. What's wrong with you? You're getting me caught. Damn you! I felt a violent tug at my arm. Whoever did this seemed in panic, unsure whether to push me aside or pull me up. It's you! Her brute force sent a sharp pain up my arm and put an abrupt end to my numbness. Thanks to her, I began to see the surroundings. Wait, you're Kunming. As I began to size up the girl inside, a peculiar familiarity came to me. But the way you speak is different. You remind me more of someone else. Are you... Tariri? The Magic Girl Empress? And the Grand Cirrus? She froze for a brief moment and gave me a dry smile. Even you saw through my disguise. It's a total failure. And stop calling me that. I'm no longer the Grand Cirrus. I'm a fugitive now. Fugitive? What happened? And why are you dressed like Long story, enemies are catching up. Why are you still here? I thought you left. Where am I? In the ruins, you've been here, remember? It looks even more broken now. Eyes on the road. It's kind of hard when I'm trying to read the dialogue, thank you. This isn't right. Kunming said she'd send me back to Hyperion, which is my world, but now... Kunming said that? Are you kidding me? That can't... What happened? Watch out! Someone is here! Or someone is there! Three arrows darted into the ground barely before our feet, with the arrow veins vibrating fiercely. I took Teresa's arm to flee the other way, but a harsh kick in the knee sent me to the ground, and my eyes then took me back to complete darkness. Separate them and take them away! What do you want? Let go of her! Darn it! Take me back to Rita, or kill me now! Enough talk. Her Majesty wants her alive. What do we do with this one? After a short silence, a cold breeze swept over my neck. He knows nothing, and he didn't even see your faces. I thought I heard a lance knocking the ground. My captors were probably deciding when to take my life. We should leave it to Her Majesty's decision. Yeah, just a small potato of no consequence. Let's move. My hands were firmly tied behind my back, and with a sudden tug of the rope, I was sent faltering forward. Hey, where are you taking us? The answer I got was a mean elbow strike in the stomach. Coughing violently, I was then hauled up from the ground. I was no stranger to a bag over the head, but something told me this time was different. As cold sweat crept up my back, I tried to take a deep breath and sort out everything I knew so far. First of all, I didn't return to Hyperion, and I'm not on the island either. I'm with the Grand Cirrus, and I must have returned to the era of the Holy Shixel Empire, Jormungand, and Emberia. But after a while, my captor suddenly stopped and took the gunny sack off my head. I got a glimpse of the surroundings. Night had fallen, and I was standing before an imposing palace. I heard he's a friend of Teresa. Release him now. Show your gratitude to Her Majesty now. Her Majesty? The ruler of Emberia? Who are you? The guard taunted me as he lifted his hand that held my head low. This one has lost it. Everyone in the world knows. The one who ended the War of the Three Kingdoms and unified the world. Oh boy, she does not look friendly. Teresa, so you dress like me. I didn't know you had such a tasteless hobby. But it's not enough to flee from me. Konmin? It's you. A familiar face that I just saw moments ago. Memories about her flashed all over me and sank my speculation about Her Majesty. A big relief for me. Konmin, I swear I didn't have any pathetic obsession this time, and all I thought was to return to my own world. But lucky me, I ended up here. If it's nothing wrong with your formation, I have to see this as a passive skill of mine that I never knew I had. How dare you talk to the Grand Cirrus like that? Having confirmed the Grand Cirrus was indeed Konmin, I was mightily relieved and didn't heed the angry guard. When I left Emberia, Teresa was the Grand Cirrus. Konmin had retired and wished to become a hermit. So I have to suppose there's been some sort of misunderstanding. Your calm is intriguing, but I'm indeed the Grand Cirrus. But Konmin did not look intrigued at all. Her eyes were cold and dark. They were like two small black holes that no light dared to travel near. The look alone didn't frighten me, but seeing it on a familiar face was blood-chilling. She seemed to have been possessed in a matter of minutes. What happened? If If the guard wasn't lying about bringing all of the realm under her rule, Jigsaw and Jormungand, how is this possible in such a short time? Connie, Your Majesty, Captain was once an honored guest of the court. Do not harm him. You have my word, but I need you to do something for me. Maidens, dress Teresa now. Teresa's face turned instantly pale. Maidens flew in with a delicate dress. That's Teresa's stage outfit, in which she used to shine bright like a diamond. But now she's struggling against the maidens who tried to force her into her favorite dress. Conmin, what do you want from Teresa? Nothing, except I want her to be a happy little songbird singing day and night for me with her wings clipped. I'm not singing for you. I sing for Rita and other people. If I remember correctly, Teresa, you used to be called Teriri, the magic girl Imperious. Today happens to be Chising, so sing a song to the heavens and stars now for my amusement, magic girl. No matter how many times you turn me down or run away, I'll always find you, just like this time. Teresa lost her fighting spirit, and her head sank. Once a loved and respected Grand Cirrus, she is now no more than a bullied little girl trying to hold back her tears. What on earth happened to Imperia? Seems like Captain has a lot of questions, but I can't answer them now since there's a more important matter at hand. A more important matter? Now sit beside me and watch carefully. Enjoy the show with me and your questions may be answered. The guard loosened his grip and led me with his spear to the stairs. Let me go! The fiery ball that made me turn my head and find two more familiar faces. Though dressed differently, the two were without a doubt Arch-Imperator and the Corsair Queen. On your knees. Never! Insolent peasants! It's fine. The Corsair Queen won't kneel, for she was born wild and uncivilized. But what about you, Arch-Imperator? I lost my kingdom in just 3 months, so give me a break and spare me the Arch-Imperator nonsense. Why would the Arch-Imperator and Corsair Queen be here? They seem to have had a big and ugly fight with Conmin. And the Three Kingdoms is now history. When we last met amidst the ruins, who'd have thought this is how we'd meet again? Any regrets? If you knew this was inevitable, you might as well give me a quick answer there and then. Grand Cirrus, I don't think this is what you have us here for. Cut the crap and just give me a quick one. As you wish then. Bring the 2 items. 2 treasures from the Imperial Arsenal. I'm lending them to you now. The guards carried 2 chests to Conmin, and she drew out a great sword from one of them. This is the Bloodbather, the legendary blade that turns enemies' blood into all-consuming flames. Conmin turned over and tugged the embroidered cover to reveal an armor. This is the Shadow Moon, the legendary armor that drinks all light and blocks all attacks. You're asking us to... Let's have a little bet. I want to see how the sharpest sword fares against the sturdiest shield. Conmin, you're playing with lives. The whole world is my stake, and I can certainly afford 2 insignificant lives. Oh boy. I want to see how the sharpest sword fares against the sturdiest shield. I respect you, Arch Imperator, so I'll give you my... Oh. If we do this, Corsair Queen... 3, 2, 1. Begin. Ow. What? Ow. I'm having a hard time focusing on the battle and the dialogue here. One of the benefits of Genshin, having voice acting during all dialogue. Or, I guess almost all. At the very least. Oh my. Ah, I couldn't get out of that. That was almost a mistake. Corsair Queen, don't forget our pact that whoever survives, I'll kill you, Konmin. Oh. People's fate might vary, but they share the same death. You two can share it now. Yikes! Before my senses came back to me, the traces left by the battle were all wiped clean. It was then that I began to realize there wasn't going to be any survivor in Konmin's game. As cold sweat washed over my back, I could still hear the fading scream of Teresa. Teresa, is she alright? Teresa is having a little shock. The guards have escorted her to rest. I tried to ask her why she would go this far, but only rusty mumble came out of my mouth. Konmin walked up the stairs and took the silk handkerchief from the maiden to wipe the blood off her face. That's it. She sighed in relief and waved the maiden to bring 2 cups with wine. Have a taste, Captain. Spring Dance, the finest wine in the Empire. Is your tongue twisted, Captain? I opened my parched mouth in vain, and not a single word came out. Looks like you're in shock too. I'll drink first then. One sip later, Konmin frowned and flung the cup onto the floor with porcelain shards splashing all over. And with another brittle clash, the cup before me also went to the floor to join the other one. Today is Chisi, not some frosty autumn day. Did I ever say I want the wine warmed? The wine is spoiled. Take it away. The wine-serving maiden hurriedly knelt down and kowtowed, only to be dragged away brutally by a guard. Two more maidens came forward to clean up the mess and serve the wine in new cups again. The look on their faces told me it's a daily routine they've long grown used to. What a waste. Trying to ease up the tension, I took the cup with a nervous hand and sipped to finally soothe my tongue. It's indeed good wine, but I sense there's something unsaid in your remark, Captain. Not knowing how to reply to her, I tried to bury my head in the cup. A few cups later, my body began to warm up and my arrested brain began to turn again. I looked around one more time and finally took note of something unusual. Right. Where's Rita? I mean, the Grand Chancellor. Konmin raised her cup, but suddenly paused for a second. She played the cup in her hand before she topped up herself and toasted up to the sky. Over there. I followed her eyes and found a twinkling star. Konmin's rueful voice then brought in awful news. Rita is dead. The Chancellor is dead? No way! Teresa was asking about her just now. Wouldn't she know? Konmin took another sip and continued to fiddle with her cup. I suppose you've noticed that you came here 3 months later than me. A lot has happened since I arrived alone. It all started with the 3 years I stayed on the island. I had reinforced the seal on Huro several times, but 3 years was too long for it to be left unchecked. After it broke free, the Empire became its first victim. So when you returned, Rita was already fighting Huro. Konmi nodded. Beneath her unusual composure, I could feel unwanted memories surging up. 1,000 years ago, I once sealed Horo with my formation to protect Emberia. But when I tried to activate the formation again this time, I found the old partners by my side all gone. Without their help, it's far more difficult to seal the beast again. Couldn't you ask the neighbor kingdoms for help? As for the help I asked, even the 2 envoys I sent didn't make it back, let alone any reply. So that's why you called the other 2 kingdoms onlookers. This explains her bad blood with the Arch-Imperator and Corsair Queen. The 2 kingdoms stood idle while we fought Horo, trying to prey on us once we were weakened. When I finally developed a new formation and went to Rita so we could stop Horo together, look for traces of Rita. This seems to belong to Rita. And this too. We won't lose. Downstream. That's Rita's scythe. found her scythe lying by the river. Frodo was long gone, only scattered petals rippling with the water. Rita was lying in the water, as if quietly asleep. There were more wounds on her than I could possibly count, but no bleeding anymore. I lifted her up. She was all soaked all over, but she felt feather light, as if all the blood in her had bled dry. I looked down at her and felt she looked so strange for reasons I couldn't tell. I cuddled her cold body and wandered on and on until night fell and stars rose above the sea. The answer finally came to me. Whenever I saw her, there was always this understated smile on her face, or in her eyes, to be more exact. But I can't see her eyes anymore. I can't see her eyes anymore. Is the Chancellor... I couldn't finish the sentence, but Conming knew what I meant and nodded silently. And you know all about the rest. I'm avenging Rita. Now, the Corsair Queen and Arch-Imperator have been served justice. There's one more culprit left before Rita is fully avenged. One more? Conming fell in her thoughts, and I dared not to disturb her. It's not Teresa, is it? Of course not. Why would I kill a lunatic? Conming sighed. She won't believe Rita is dead, and she's still thinking about singing for her. That's no ruler for the Empire, so I relieved her of the throne. Meanwhile, I ordered her to sing for me, and me alone. In her mind, it's me who's keeping her from her dear Rita. Conming spoke like these were trivial matters of no importance. She lifted her head and emptied the cup in one go. A soft blush began to float up her cheeks. It's all history now. Now, indulge me with the game of chess. Before I could say anything, Conming took out a chessboard and set the game on the table. Forgive me, but I'm in no mood for chess after what just happened. Captain may find my proposal intrusive, but some things are better told over the chessboard. But are you afraid of losing to me, Captain? She winkled with the willy eyes. I wondered if it's the wine working, but I felt the old and familiar Conming came back. I'd let you play the first hand. How about that? You're giving me a big advantage. Conming, please go easy on me. I landed my first piece. Cannon in lane 2, moving to lane 4. Pawn in lane 5, moving to lane 6. My story hasn't quite finished. Pawn in lane 4, advancing by 1. Ironically, thanks to Rita's death, I accomplished in 3 months what I failed to do in the past centuries. King in lane 6, advancing by 1. From this moment, you two become immortal. With no other greater interference, your lives shall last eternally. Rook in lane 3, advancing by 8. Immortality isn't the same as free from death. King in lane 6, retreating by 1. Are these words from the golem in the runes? Rook in lane 2, advancing by 1. I remember the last time foremost pawn moving to lane 5. No, it's from an earlier time. Not sure how to continue the topic. I could only pretend to focus on the chessboard. Rook in lane 2, moving to lane 5. This hand took me a lot of hard thinking. Pawn in lane 4, moving to lane 5. King in lane 5 and advancing by 1. Pawn in lane 6, advancing by 1. Kunlun landed one piece after another with hardly any thinking. King in lane 5, advancing by 1. Somehow, I felt her breath became heavier, and her eyes became brighter. Rook in lane 5, moving to lane 3. The game went on, but my position grew worse and worse. I could barely hold off her offensive. Rook in lane 6, moving to lane 4. Rook in lane 9, retreating by 2. What happened? Somehow, I felt her breath became heavier, but her plays didn't slow down a bit. Are you alright? Kunlun waved her hand, signaling me to continue. Rook in lane 4, retreating by 7. Rook in lane 9, retreating by 2. Rook in lane 4, advancing by 7. Her hands seemed to be shivering in an almost unnoticeable way. Kunlun, should we take a break? I'm fine. Rook in lane 9, moving to lane 5. King in lane 5, moving to lane 4. Captain? What, Kunlun? Thank you for playing chess with me. Elephant in lane 5, advancing by 7. Captain, you have lost. Kunlun! Kunlun's cup fell off her hand, and I rose to my feet immediately. The guards came at me with their lances. Step back, all of you! Anyone coming forward without me saying so shall be executed here and now. The guards exchanged a confused look with each other and took one step back. Gasping heavily, Kunlun supported herself with one hand on the table and pointed the other at the chessboard. It's not finished yet, but I know I have lost. But that doesn't concern me now. Kunlun, please tell me what happened. She let out a long breath and laughed. My time has come, it seems. As spilled wine spread around the cup, I suddenly remembered she said something about only one more culprit left. What? Are you trying to kill yourself? No, not like that. I didn't mean it. This flagon is not poisoned, but the previous one was. The 2 prisoners bought off my maiden for this. I let my guard down and did not test the wine for poison. They traded their deaths for mine. 2 lives for 1. A pretty decent deal for them, I guess. I began to understand why her mood had such big sways earlier. She knew it's poisoned at the first sip, and she stopped me drinking it in a subtle way. But why? Your enemies are all dead, and this is your place. Why didn't you say it when you found out the poisoned wine? If you said something then, there might still be a chance. Kunlun shook her head with a bitter smile. I drank the poisoned wine, for there's nothing left for me in this world. Or I finally assured myself that you were the one? Kunlun turned around and stared directly into my eyes. The one? Long, long ago, when I was still a 12-year-old princess, I fled the capital trying to save the empire on my own. Out of nowhere, nobody showed up and seemed hell-bent on helping me and protecting me. I still remember the fish girl you'd cooked. Never tasted anything fouler. I had a lot of help. My uncle, General Durandal, Miss Ironfist. But how did I end up this way? Maybe it all started in a year after the one left me. Imperial year 72, I went to the ruins alone to check the seal. Just as I suspected, the seal was beginning to wane. I needed to stay there and strengthen it. But amidst the ruins, memories of the past were awakened. What was the one doing now? When would fate bring us together again? In what future would our reunion happen? In the eyes of Konmin, stars shone bright. I tried to analyze the sleeping Miss Iron Fist. The only thing left to me by the one. I thought I had the secret and developed a new formation, but it brought Rosalia and Lilia here before you. At that time, sending you back was to right a wrong. After all, it was technically my fault that you were brought here. In the 3 years drifting on the island, I watched you closely, and somehow you always reminded me of the one. The one? Seeing Konmin on the verge of collapse, I swept the board aside and got a hold of her before she fell. She coughed fiercely with blood seeping from the corner of her lips. But now, I'm finally certain. She reached out her shivering hand, trying to touch my face. You're indeed the one. The short week when you were by my side changed the entire course of my life. Maybe she mistook me for an old friend, but something in her determined eyes began to make me doubt my identity. I wanted to say something, ask something, but a strong hand named Fate grabbed me by the throat and silenced me. Are you saying we've met before? You look different, but a person's nature does not change easily. They call me the Grand Seeress for a reason. I can always see under the skin and reach the heart. I don't know how you did it, but when you said you'd leave, the one that's supposed to be you passed out instantly. But after he woke up, he had no memory about me left. My assumption is that somehow you borrowed the body of someone from this world. The only one who can validate my theory is Miss Iron Fist, but she's been in a 1,000-year-long slumber. I always thought you left her behind for a reason, so I studied her over and over. With a little bit of luck, I developed the unstable formation based on what I learned from Miss Iron Fist. You were split into 2 halves in the teleportation, and the second half emerged 3 years later than the first. This time, you came 3 months later than me. Coughing intensely, she turned her body around and searched for a more comfortable position. If Miss Iron Fist is as powerful as she claimed, she might know how to alter the ill fate where I had to avenge Rita. But Miss Iron Fist you mentioned, where is she? She's in my bedchamber, asleep. If there's anyone in the world who can wake her up, it has to be you. It's too much for me to take in. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have entertained such a bold theory. So, my faith is still in you. That you can change everything before it's too late. In my arms, Konmin mustered the last of her dying strength to clench my wrist. Find Miss Iron Fist. Wake her up. You have to find a way to make things better. Save Emberia. Save Rita. And save me. Your words still ring in my ears. See you in the distant future. So please take me to the distant future, where we can meet again. Please, Mr. Assassin. Konmin? Konmin!
皆の者、出よ、ここにあり、ついてきなさい。捕らえた。ダメー。ありえないわ。ありえないわ。なんでさ。
I could never handle Pharaoh. Someone seemed to have said those words to me long ago. It's time to say goodbye, Captain. Why aren't you dying? So, this is the end. How about a bet? People's fate might vary, but they share the same death. So my faith is still in you. But you can change everything. The only thing I can do is... Well, the only thing I can do is... head to the true future. In Konmin's bedchamber, a small figure was sitting with its back against the screen. She was sitting on a giant metallic hand, with 2 more hands supporting her in the back, but her head was drooping. Miss Iron Fist? I glanced over the room and found the screen to be a clear-cut border of different views. Before the screen, everything was neat and tidy, but behind the screen there were only cluttered book piles. Konmin must have spent more sleepless nights here sitting opposite Miss Iron Fist than I can possibly count. The Grand Cirrus is immortal. She'll be back with us in no time. Noise came from outside the window. I thought I was found instantly and laid low. Find the one who drank with the Grand Cirrus. Who is the heir to the Grand Cirrus? When every voice was struggling to overwhelm the others, no voice could be heard clearly. The one with the decisive voice was gone. She is now a star looking down upon us. The voices from the ground could never reach her now. But there has to be something I can do. As I stared at Miss Iron Fist, those hard questions awaiting answers came back at me again. Why am I here? When did I see Konmin before? Why would I do these things for her? These questions merged into a more important question. Who am I? And I know the answer to this one. I'm Captain. I reached out to the tiny robot. The moment my hand came into contact with her, an electric flux surged around her and shot up my finger. The huge pain made me retract my hand instantly. Verification complete. Tesla Zero rebooting. Wake up failed. Entering low power mode. I was taken aback. Wake up failed? But you were talking. Tesla Zero seems to be her real name, and Miss Iron Fist is perhaps a nickname? I began to size her up. The 3 gray hands were half open, and electric fluxes flew through the bunny ears. No way she's from this era. Low power mode activate. Speech module disabled. I heard it clearly this time. The voice came from inside Miss Iron Fist. Probably some recorded system prompt? Miss Iron Fist, I'm Captain. Konmin sent me here. Low power mode active. Speech module disabled. She told me you knew how to rewrite the history where Rita died miserably, and she had to avenge her with blood. Low power mode active. Speech module disabled. Rita is dead, and so is Konmin. I was babbling uncontrollably. I didn't know what I was saying, but I had to say something. Low power mode active. Speech module disabled. Miss Iron Fist, how do I bring two dead people back alive? Please help me if you know. If Rita was alive, Konmin would not... Keywords detected and analyzed. Augmentation on. Set anchor to initiate transfer with full energy charge. Anchor? The time point where Rita died, or... Never mind, I'll just go with it and see what happens.